Ask you to please turn those cell phones on vibration. The mics are sensitive. I'll pick you up any kind of way. Thank you very much. Mr. Plateau, over to you.
Good evening.
Turn your mic on.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to public meeting of Community Board 3. We'll start our meeting with the invocation, and Reverend Gwen Dingle, board member, will give us our invocation.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Oh, that sounds good. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you because you've been so good to us. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. Be in this meeting, be in everyone that comes to this door, and as we leave this building, protect us. In Jesus' name, according to your faith, can everybody say amen?
Amen.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Dingle. So I'm going to start by reading the agenda.
Welcome back, Ms. Myers.
So following the agenda, we'll have remarks from the chairperson, that's myself, Mr. Plateau, acknowledgement of elected officials and community partners. And I guess if there's any representatives, if you haven't seen Mr. Butler yet, please check in with him for that. Followed by the district manager's report to be given by. We have one informational presentation tonight coming from the Health and Social Service Committee. It will be from the New York State Nurses Association. We have two public hearings for liquor licenses, and they will be brought forth by the Economic Development Committee. One is for an establishment called BK Lobster, located at 535 Nostrand Avenue. Second will be for Thai Meat, located at 918 Broadway. The public hearing will be followed by community announcements, roll call for board member attendance, committee updates and resolutions. The board will then take action on the public hearing, so we're going to vote on the two public hearings on BK Lobster and Thai Meat request for letters of support, followed by the chairperson's report. And under that, according to our bylaws, we're supposed to get a report from the nominating committee. So we'll get a report on nominations from the nominating committee, followed by acceptance of the October 7 minutes, and then we will adjourn. So I'll just start with my remarks. So we had another transition last month, the wake and funeral for Olivia Herb McGuire, the mother-in-law of District Manager Henry Butler. The services were held October 11th and 12th. Please keep Mr. Butler and his family in your prayers. I'm going to just briefly report on some of the activities I've been involved with since the last public meeting. On October 12th, myself and several other board members, including Reverend Dr. Waterman, attended and participated in the Bedford Alive award ceremony, which took place in Restoration Plaza. This was the 15th anniversary of Bedford Alive, and the award ceremony was followed by a day of music and vending on Fulton Street. I was a panelist on the Brownstoners homeownership workshop that was held on October 19th at Boys and Girls High School. The panel was hosted by Bridge Street Development Corp., and the panelists were Gregory Anderson, who was at the last meeting here, the last public meeting. He's the interim president of Bridge Street Development Corp. Also from Bridge Street was Timur Nanikashvili, who's a community outreach coordinator, as well as myself. The moderator was Gloria Sanford, president of the Bedford Stuyvesant Real Estate Board. My remarks were focused on ways to combat property fraud, as well as current real estate market trends. We also had a surprise guest, the person of District Attorney Eric Gonzalez, who spoke about his accomplishments in office, including reversing wrongful convictions, as well as the work of the property fraud unit. Myself and District Manager Henry Butler gave remarks at Siloam Presbyterian Church's 170th anniversary services that were held on Saturday, October 26th, and Sunday, October 27th at Siloam, which is located at 260 Jefferson Avenue. I'd also like to publicly congratulate Doug Williams. Is Doug here? Doug, could you please stand up? And he's the chair of the Veterans Committee, as well as any other members of the Veterans Committee. Okay, so we had our first, we had a successful inaugural Veterans Parade. It took place this past Saturday, November 2nd. The parade route was Fulton Street between Lewis Avenue and Saratoga Avenue, and it was a joint effort with Community Board 16. Please give Doug Williams a hand. Just two other short items. There's a borough board meeting that will take place at Brooklyn Borough Hall tomorrow at 6 p.m. The borough board consists of all of the Brooklyn Community Board chairs and all the Brooklyn council members, and the meeting is open to the public. Last thing, I just want to say we had first meeting of the Census Complete Count Committee, and I don't know, you may hear a bit more about that from Mr. Butler, but the main person for the census who was at the public meeting, the last public meeting in October, he also came to the committee meeting. So with that, I'm going to move on the agenda. We're going to move to acknowledgement of elected officials and community partners. So if you could please be ready in this order, and if you could try to keep your remarks to 2 minutes. So representing the controller, Scott Stringer. And where's the mic? So there's a mic over here. It's got to be Nicholas Curry. From Council Member Robert Cornegy's office, Jacqueline Williams. From Councilwoman Alika Ampry Samuel's office, Kim Robinson. And from Councilwoman Lori Cumbo's office, Tahira A. Maynard. 2 minutes.
Hi. Hello. Hi. Good evening. Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicholas Perry. I'm a representative for our New York City Comptroller, Scott Stringer. Tonight, I just want some information about the latest information coming out of our office. We recently released 3 reports. I didn't have too many, so I left a couple out on the table outside. If anybody wants some extra copies, you can contact me directly. But the first report that I have right here is called Housing Survivors, How New York City Can Increase Housing Stability for Survivors of Domestic Violence. There's an analysis, and the comptroller makes recommendations on how we can better support domestic violence victims. I have another report here called Retail Vacancy in New York City. This report analyzes why there's so many empty storefronts around the city. and it gives recommendations on that as well. And last year, when we had the big blow up on the lead crisis, our office decided to conduct their own investigation. And we have new findings that were not in this report that was not released last year. This report is called the New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer's investigation into child lead exposure. There's some very interesting information in this report as well. My name is Nicholas Perry. If anybody would like extra copies of these reports for your organizations or your own personal use, you can reach out to me directly. My cell number is 646-499-0749. Thank you.
Jacqueline Williams here, Councilmember Quantity's office. Okay, it's Kim Robinson. Followed by Tahira Magon, followed by Shakti Robbins Kubas from Senator Montgomery's office.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kim Robinson, and I represent Councilmember Alika Henry Samuels. So really quickly, I just wanted to, the councilmember would like to again congratulate to the Veterans Committee for a beautiful job Saturday. The parade was awesome, and she just wanted to extend her thanks to say thank you for all the work you do at Community Board 30. In touching a little bit about what my co-worker just said about the lead. So in conjunction with Robert Carnegie, which is the chair of Housing and Building, Mark Levine, who's the chair of the Health Committee, Mark Traeger, who's the chair of the Education, and our own Councilmember Samuels, who's the head of Public Housing, there will be a hearing on November 3rd to address the lead issue. So they found that there's a high level, I'm sorry, November 13th. Yes. They found that there's a high level of lead, not only in many buildings, but also in our school. So there will be a hearing on the chambers on the 13th to pass legislation around how they will go about addressing that. Also, we have, the census is gonna be at our location on Friday, so if you know anyone who wants to apply for jobs in the census, they can actually use the computers. There's also a representative there that can assist them with completing their application. Again, that's 400 Rockaway Avenue, and the number is 718-953-3097. And my name is Kim Robinson. On behalf of the council member, we want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
The number again.
I'm sorry, 718-953-3097. Thank you.
Tahira Maynard here?
Yes.
Okay. Followed by Shakti Robbins Kubas, followed by Joe Grant, representing Councilmember Robert Quantity.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Tahira A. Maynard, and I'm here on behalf of Majority Leader Lori A. Cumbo's office. I have a few highlights. Every Thursday, our office at our district location, 55 Hanson Place, we have a representative providing free housing services. His name is John Goss, and you can contact him to schedule an appointment. His number is 718-435-7585, and he's there every Thursday from 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. His email address is jgoss@brooklynhousing.org. He provides help with repairs, heat and hot water, lease renewals, succession rights, etc. We also have Maggie, a CUNY immigration lawyer, available to provide free immigration services Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. 212-652-2071. We wanted to inform you that the MTA, some of you may know this, but the MTA announced the first series of public open houses in regards to the comprehensive redesign of the Brooklyn Local and Express bus networks. This meeting is open to the public. We're recommending that you attend the MTA project kickoff open house on Wednesday, November 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Walt Whitman High School. On Saturday, November 23rd, we're having our annual turkey giveaway at Prospect Heights School located at 883 Classen Avenue from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And two quick other highlights, we wanted to inform you about the New York City Foundation for Senior Citizens. There's a home sharing program, that helps to link adult hosts with extra private spaces in their homes or apartments. And you can access that at nyfsc.org.
One more time.
Thank you, just made the time.
nyfsc.org.
Yes,
And we have some of these outside, or you can get them from me.
Shakti Robbins, Kuvas, followed by Joseph Grant, gonna be followed by Lucy Allen, representing Assemblyman Walter Mosley, followed by Maceo Kareem, representing Assemblywoman Tremaine Wright.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shakti Robbins Kuvas, representing Senator Montgomery. I just wanted to let you all know that one of the senator's bills was just signed into law around kinship care. So this bill expands the number of relatives that can petition the court to become a foster parent. So essentially, if there is a situation where a child has to go into foster care, now there are more adults in their family who can apply to be their foster parent instead of them being sent to a family of strangers. Also, recently, the governor read a New York Times article about deed theft and instructed the Department of Financial Services to do an investigation. So they will be taking complaints. I have the information with me. There are also more copies outside. You can make a complaint by phone or online, and they'll be hosting some intake events all over the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joseph C. Grant Jr. I'm representing Councilman Robert Carnegie. Just a few announcements. One of the biggest problems we have in the community is we've been facing a lot of TPT. So what the council has done was have an attorney inside the office. I believe his name is Esteban, and he's there twice a month to deal with any issues on TPT. We also
What's
have
PPT?
third-party transfer. And we also have another attorney who deals with any type of problems that you may have, and his name is Ken Barakis, who's there. So there's two attorneys. And in addition to those two, we also have our other attorney who deals with immigration. So those are the three attorneys that's in the office that's helping people out in the community. So if you have any issues regarding that, please come to the office or call the office and make an appointment. On a lighter note, we do have our turkey giveaway, which will be We do have our turkey giveaway that will be on November 22nd here at Restoration. In order to receive a turkey, you have to call, sign up, show some ID. You must live in the community. If you cannot make it, then you would have someone come in for you, but they also need to show ID in picking up the turkey. And we also have our advisory board meeting, which is Holiday Blues. It's still with mental health. This is around the time of the holiday when people start feeling really sad. So we want to make sure we have all the resources necessary. If you know anyone who's feeling kind of down around the holiday time, that they can come in and get the proper resources and help. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful and safe holiday.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Lucy Allen, followed by Maceo Kareem, followed by Reverend Gil Monroe from the Borough President, Eric Adams' office.
Good evening. Again, my name is Lucian Allen, and I am the community liaison for Assemblyman Walter Mosley. Just one event that we have coming up is the last Walk with Walter Wednesday. It's going to be on November 20th from 12 to 2. It's going to be on Myrtle Avenue between Washington Park and Classen. These are our opportunities for people to go out into the community and meet with the Assemblyman face to face. He also walks these corridors to introduce himself to the businesses and let them know that he's there, at their disposal. But again, these are opportunities that if you have any incidents or issues that you like to discuss with the Assemblyman directly, these are opportunities for you to be able to do so. Secondly, just covering some of the legislation updates. The Assemblyman is sponsoring the Less is More legislation. This is for addressing like technical violations or parole violations. So between that, trying to give them opportunities to receive a hearing and go through the court for these technical violations, which is kind of like missing a phone call or being late to an appointment, things that people have been violated and sent back to prison for. So giving them an opportunity to address these and hopefully not get reintroduced back into prison. Second is the Eric Garner Chokehold Act. So essentially, this use of chokeholds has resulted in too many deaths. This basically would make the chokehold a Class B felony. And lastly, good cause eviction. So with all the rent regulation and laws that have been passed, we want to continue building upon that. So this good cause eviction, it enables the tenants to pay their rent on time, and least responsibly should not be held things such as drastic rent increases that are done for no reasons and forcing these tenants out. So essentially, these are some more protections that are trying to be put into play to make sure that tenants have the right to rent without fear of being evicted for no reason at all. So again, if there are any issues that you'd like me to relate to the settlement, you can speak to me directly. The number is 718-596-02.
Thank you. Ratio Kareem, followed by Gil Monroe from Borough President Adams' office, be followed by representatives from the Brooklyn Public Library.
Good evening, my name is Maceo from the Assembly Human Rights Office, and we have two events. We have our citizen preparedness event, as well as our yearly turkey trot event, as well as we have the economic development coming to our office to help people with jobs, as well as our citizens, our census, flyers, and we have our cease and desist. So if you are a homeowner and if you have a lot of knocks or calls coming to your house about selling, please come. We're trying to build a cease and desist zone around the neighborhood so that if anyone comes to your door excessively, they can be fined or sued. And Assemblywoman brings greetings. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Good evening to everyone. I'm Pastor Gil Monroe. I'm the Borough President Director of Faith-Based and Clergy Initiative. Normally Candace Julia graced you with her presence, but she's out today, so I decided to come and be here with you this evening. I want to teach you really quickly a quick chant. I'm also the co-chair for the Borough President Census Committee. And what we say is that make Brooklyn count, and you say 100%. Make Brooklyn count? 100%. That's it, baby. So that's what we do. So we want to make sure, again, of course, you have heard over and over again that Brooklyn was the hottest county area. We want to come up to that last place position, push us up just a little bit more. And one of my tasks as the faith-based director is to look over the Brooklyn operations in terms of counting to make us count 100%. So if you have a nonprofit organization and you would like to join our Brooklyn Complete Count Committee, please do so. We would love to have you on. We have about 250 organizations right now. We believe that our success is having nonprofit organizations who know your community, where you live, where you work, to be able to do the work to get every individual counted. We know it's difficult, it's tough, but I think that we can do it. So if you're gonna work with me, we're gonna make Brooklyn count. 100%. Don't sleep on me, make Brooklyn count. 100%. Lastly, before I leave, for the past 7 years working with the Borough President, I've been working with houses of worship to really, number one, find a way to give capital. I see this brother's trying to look to see who's this voice. Finding capital. Number two, a lot of historic churches in Brooklyn, especially that Stuyvesant, have been closing and being sold to developers. One of the things that we are really working on is trying to figure out how do we save those houses of worship by giving them the right capital, but also making sure that they develop that is friendly to the community and so that they don't leave the borough. So we're working very hard to make that happen. You know, our goal is to have 300,000 units of affordable housing before we leave office in a couple of years. I think that I don't know what number we're on, but we're trying our very best. So if you are a part of a faith-based organization, please reach out to me, Gilman Rose, at the Borough President's office, so we can help you and assist you along those lines. All right, thank you so much, and make Brooklyn count.
Telephone number.
Telephone number, you gonna call me?
Yeah.
All right, 718-802-3761. 718-802-3761. I probably will pick up the phone, but if not, I'll get to you, I'm sure, at some point in time. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, is Karen Cherry, did you want?
Right here, right here.
Okay.
I just want to bring greetings on behalf of Assemblyman Eric Delon. Remind everyone, the polls are open tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We did have early voting for those that voted already. I said 6 a.m.? What did I say?
6 a.m.
Oh, sorry, I'm there tonight, sorry. I'm glad y'all listening. See that? Y'all listening. Polls will be open 6 a.m. tomorrow to 9 p.m. So please go out and vote. Thank you so much. Have a good night, Karen Cherry, on behalf of Assemblyman Eric Delon.
Thank you. So, community partners, if you could please be ready in this order. Brooklyn Public Library, Lamine Isaac and Marsha McGibbon. Marcia McGibbon, sorry about that. Followed by, the bid, is Medina Sadiq here? Okay, Medina, gonna follow. The library, followed by Brooklyn Job Corps, Leon Reed, followed by SOS Brooklyn, Shadow Tarver.
They have short announcements.
We'll have to add up to 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, my name is Marcia McGibbon, I'm the manager of the Marcy branch. That's the one on DeKalb at Marcy. I put stuff outside for everything, but what I wanted to feature was on Thursday, November 7th, Build the Block, 79 Precinct will be at the branch, 7 o'clock, 5:30, Build the Block, 79 Precinct. On November 15th, 1 to 4, we have a census worker looking for people to do work with the census. That's Friday, November 15th, 1 to 4. And we have our job recruiting workforce, Friday, November 15th at 11 a.m. I have many other papers outside. Hope to see you at the Marcy branch. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lamine Isaac. I am representing the Napalm Library. I'm coming tonight to inform you that this is my last official week at Napalm Library. Yes, I will be going on to become a regional manager in Napalm Library. For your partnerships in the past almost 3 years I've been there, and I look forward to continuing the many relationships I've started and looking to foster and create new ones. So thank you very much.
All right.
So in that same notion, it's my last meeting as the coordinator of older adult services. So I'll be joining Lamine, but being a regional librarian for the Flatbush region. I'm looking for my replacement, which in my current role, I offer programs and services to the 50+ audience across the entire borough. So all the older adults. That's 50+, right? So anyway, but please, you can still reach out to me. The transition really happens, I guess, well, for you immediately, but for me, till the end of the year. So if you have any questions about senior programming, feel free to reach out to me. And the last thing I want to say, institutionally, we do have self-check machines. So look out for those new self-check machines that can take cash and renew and all the stuff like that.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Medina Sadiq. Followed by Leon Reed, followed by Shadow Tarver, and Detective Narcisse.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Medina Sadiq from the Bedside Gateway Business Improvement District. I'm up to really, hope that we all have great holidays and inform you that we have installed the holiday lights up and down Fulton Street. They're not turned on yet. They'll be turned on the day before Thanksgiving. Also, at that same time, we will install what we call holiday ambassadors, which will be licensed security guards that are walking up and down the street while shopping is happening. We bring them on to start around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They stay around till like 6 to 8 p.m. depending on when the stores close. They're walking around, making the store owners feel a little bit more secure at closing time. And we're just on the beat of holiday now. We've started doing everything for holidays now. We're looking to have a holiday tree lighting event outside, and perhaps if we can make it happen, an ice sculpturing event across the street at Marcy Plaza. So thank you so much.
I just wanted to give the big props for their graffiti removal. I called in a complaint, and the graffiti was removed the same day. So.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Leon Reed from the Brooklyn Job Forum. Just to remind you that we're still an active part of the community. We're over on 585 DeKalb Avenue. We are above the Home Depot. So we're still offering career technical training to the youth of the community, 17 and a half to 25 years of age. You're welcome to our open house every Wednesdays at 8:30 a.m. And we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to me. My number is 718-844-6324. Should I repeat it?
Say it.
718-844-6324.
You know it?
Thank you. Shadow Carver from SOS.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shadow Tarver. I'm from Neighbors in Action. We are the home of Save Our Streets Brooklyn. We specialize in gun violence reduction in the neighborhoods of Crown Heights and Bed-Stuy. And we do that through mediations, violence interruption. We offer therapeutic services, and we also help out with the youth and trying to get them jobs and opportunities, and educational opportunities as well. We couldn't do that without any of our great partners like CB3 and the Civic and Safety Committee, the NYPD precincts 77th and 79th. The precinct clergy councils, and also the community councils. So thank you to all of you for helping out with keeping our community safe. Just 2 announcements. We have 2 upcoming Thanksgiving dinners where we will be offering free meals to any community member that walks through the doors. The first one will be on Thursday, November 21st, and that will be at John Wesley United Methodist Church on Nostrand and Quincy, and that will be at 5:30 p.m. And then the second will be on Friday, November 22nd, and that will be at Bueller Church of the Nazarene on St. John's Place in Troy Avenue. And that will also be at 5:30. So if anyone wants to come out and get a free meal, we're gonna also try to raffle off free turkeys. Don't quote me on that, but we're trying to secure those turkeys, but if we do give them out, it will be through a raffle. We'll also be collecting non-perishable food donations and toys for children for the holidays. So if you wanna know more information, you can reach us at 718-773-6886. Once again, that's Save Our Streets Brooklyn, 718-773-6886. And my name is Shadow Tarver. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. And last community partner will be Detective Conrad Cease from the 81st Precinct Community Affairs.
Good evening, everyone. Detective Narcisse.
Talk to the mic.
Detective Narcisse from the 81st Precinct Community Affairs Office. Hi, everyone. So we want to, on behalf of my Deputy Inspector, Winston Faison, and the President of the 81 Precinct Community Council, Daniel Fisher, I just wanted to bring greetings. We have a few announcements. We just had a Veterans Day parade last Saturday, which went really well, I think. We wanted to thank the veterans. It was a good outcome. We had a nice turnout. So we want to thank everyone that came out to support. Next Tuesday, November 12th, we'll be having our community council meeting at 1958 Fulton Street. It'll be at 7 p.m. We also want to let everyone know we'll hold our annual senior Thanksgiving Day dinner on November 26th. It'll be at Cornerstone Baptist Church. All right. If anyone has any questions, you can reach me at 718-574-0433, 718-574-0433. Thank you.
Thank you, Detective. We're gonna move on to the next part of our agenda, which will be the district manager's report given by Mr. Henry Buckner.
Good evening, everyone.
The district manager report, the monthly report is outside on the table. It's in the blue paper. You need the report. You want to see it. I'm gonna just read a couple of items from the report. Item number 2 pertaining to the MTA, a couple of things with the MTA, the B-44 bus, they're going to have mounted cameras on them. And enforcement has begun. It began on October 30th, actually. If you're riding in that SBS lane behind that bus, the camera will be taking your picture of your license. So just pass the word around to everyone. They don't want to get a ticket. Yes, throughout the lane to make a right turn. You can't go 3-4 blocks. Talking about I'm gonna make a right turn, 4 blocks down. The MTA approved their capital plan in the amount of $51.5 billion. That don't mean the money's there, they get approved. It's been $51.5 billion. That's usually over a 5 to 10 year period. Within that plan, 2 of the stations within CD3 are slated for ADA upgrade, which means elevators, Classen Avenue on the G line and Myrtle Avenue on the J line. As far as the Long Island Railroad Station, the Nostrand Avenue stop, I know you see that they're doing renovation over there. So what's left to be done, the completion of the elevators, the arc glass, fencing under the viaduct, help points and security cameras, and signage. I didn't hear back from them as of today about estimated completion date. As soon as I find out, I will send that out to the community. The second thing I just want to talk about is the National Grid. We've been talking about National Grid and moratorium on new applications for gas service, and they had suspended all applications for any gas service or anybody with a new building, new apartment. Well, the governor has forced them to end the moratorium, but it's not a full ending of the moratorium. It's a partially lifted moratorium by National Grid. They're connecting only 1,100 customers. They did send out a press release from the president. That's also out on the table if you want to read that press release. It's out on the table if you haven't taken it as of yet. Basically, one of the lines, they said the implementation plan filing outlines the commitment to reconnect all residential and small commercial inactive accounts previously denied service after May 15th. The filing also includes connecting all single meter, non-heating accounts and multi-unit apartment buildings, giving this segment's minimum gas capacity requirements. So the talking points that the National Grid is saying that they need this other gas line that's going to run, I think, from Pennsylvania to New Jersey to New York in order to deal with the extra coverage and extra customers that they have. If they want to meet their goal of basically keeping your house or apartments warm, they need this extra pipeline that they're requesting. It hasn't been approved as of yet. Like I said, it's been partially lifted. If you have any questions about this, or if it's affecting you or a building that you may own, or someone you know has been affected, then just please reach out to our office tomorrow, and we'll reach out to our National Grid liaison to see what can be done. The last thing, well, before I move on to that, is Mr. Colombo, Ben Colombo still here? Yes, so Mr. Colombo, he's my liaison for the Department of Buildings. So he's going to be making monthly visits, if not him, someone else from the agency. It's a new policy that the Department of Building has instituted under the new commissioner. So we'll get him the next month. We'll make some announcements the next month. They will have some information for us. I know we usually get a lot of complaints about development in the district, about people doing that. Some people are doing illegal construction on their block and the neighborhood. So a lot of those complaints get answered by Mr. Colombo, who does a good job to getting back to us with answers to all of our questions. So I just wanted to just introduce them and put a face to the name. The last thing I want to talk about is sanitation. The sanitation map is out there on the table. So we are broken down into 5 sections. And every year, one of the sections go on the night shift, basically that your garbage will be picked up by the midnight crew. And what happens, sometimes if you don't know, you put your garbage out in the morning and it's sitting there for 2 or 3 days. So the midnight crew came at 10, 11 o'clock at night to get it, and you didn't put it out till the morning. So the section that's going to be on the midnight shift is section 32. And the boundaries of section 32 are DeKalb Avenue to the north, Atlantic Avenue to the south, Classen to the west, and Marcy to the east. Now, because of the lack of equipment, sections 31 and 33 could also get put on the night shift on certain days of the week. So if you want to know what section you are in, make sure you get this map that's out there. And if you are in section 32, and you're between those boundaries I have read, then just remember, let your neighbors know you will be picked up on the midnight tour, not in the AM tour. Okay, I'm going to cut my report just a little short, but we have a special guest, and I'm going to let the chairperson introduce our
Yeah,
special
so
guest.
we were just joined by the controller of the city of New York, Mr. Scott Stringer.
Good evening, everybody. Well, I promised for many years that from time to time I would come to the committee board and tell you exactly what our office has been up to. And I hope I get to do that briefly tonight because I know the board members of the community has a long agenda. But I wanted to come by because there are 2 reports that we have released that I think will have an impact on Bed-Stuy and on New York City. And I just want briefly to discuss it. So many of you know and think about the homeless crisis in the city. You know that 60,000 people tonight will sleep in our shelters, 30,000 children. You may not realize that there's another 500,000 people in New York that could tip into homeless. One Trump thing, one economy shift, and we could have a genuine humanitarian crisis right here in the city. We started out spending $1.4 billion on homelessness, managing the system 6 years ago. We're spending $3.2 billion. And for the life of me, I can't understand how you spend that much money and homelessness goes up 11%. So I've been trying to think about why this is happening because we need strategies. And one of the reports we released this week shows that over the last 4 years, there has been a 45% increase in the number of domestic violence survivors and their children in the homeless shelters. 41% of domestic violence survivors now make up homelessness in our city. We have got to align those services and affordable housing to meet that need. It is not going away, folks. And we released this report to show just the bureaucratic hurdles. Somebody who is obviously in a very bad state, they get put in a domestic violence shelter. You're only allowed to stay there 180 days. You get pushed out of that shelter, you go to the general population. By the way, 7,000 children under 6 are in this system. And then they tell you you can get a housing voucher. Only 14% of the people in those facilities actually get out and get an affordable housing unit. So I respect the fact that they say neighborhoods are changing, but before we gentrify everyone out of the city, we have an obligation to build housing for the people who are struggling. And yes, we must build low-income housing, and we have to do it now before this system gets out of control. So I ask you to take a look at this report. We didn't just say gotcha. We looked at a lot of different factors, but I think for board members and community leaders, it's important to understand the struggle of women with children in particular in the shelter system because it's blowing up. The second thing I want to just mention, and I know a lot of folks in this community think about this because like so many other neighborhoods, we wake up every day and our favorite store has gone, right? You see the retail vacancy rates throughout our city. So this is what I think is one of the first reports to detail the retail vacancy crisis in the city. We looked at what is now 12 million square feet of vacant retail in the city, up from, it was 5.7 million 10 years ago. We're now at 12 million square feet. It's impacting every day when people say, well, maybe it's a Manhattan problem. So no. It's a Brooklyn problem, it's a Staten Island problem, it's a Queens problem. The stores are not being rented. And yes, the rent is high, but there's more to the story. It's the Amazon effect. People are going online. So the retail stores that we used to shop in, people aren't shopping, they're going online. So that's one factor we gotta think about. The second thing is, while we may recognize stores are being moved online, some of our shopping, there's other things that people want in retail space. Restaurants and cafes and all that, that's up 65%. So that's something to think about. People want to support stores and businesses that support services, right? Childcare is a service. You can't order that yet online, right? You actually have to go and bring your child to childcare. Now people also, another topic is doggy daycare is up. I don't know, I mean, it's the truth. I have to tell you this, right? You have to know this, right? I can't only tell you the other stuff. So I give you this report as a committee board because Henry and I have talked for a long time about economic development, commercialization, and how we fight back. So I hope that in addition to the bad news on the homeless front, I really want you to, I hope you'll find this useful. My office will be happy to talk to any committee meetings and anything you need me to do, but I just wanted to stop by tonight because I thought these two reports, especially at Committee Board 3, you find it interesting. So I submit that on behalf of the Controller's Office. I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and the best days for our city are ahead when Donald Trump is no longer in office, but that's political, But one last thing, speaking about tomorrow, if you didn't early vote, and I know everybody did. You didn't vote? So, people ask me the first day, are you going to early vote? Because all the politicians went out early to vote, and I said no. And they said, well, wait a minute, the mayor's going, all the elected officials, you're not voting early? I said, no, day one, it's not convenient for me. So I voted on Sunday, and it was great. But here's the thing, Prop 1, I hope I'm not being political, that's right?
Go ahead.
Should I be careful?
No.
Ranked voting will ensure that candidates go to every community in every borough, because you're not getting elected unless you have broad support, and maybe this will enhance our democracy. If you didn't like what I just said, I apologize, and I will never come back and talk like this again. If you do like it, I'll see you in a few months. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Controller Scott Stringer. Thank you. Mr. Butler's gonna conclude his district manager's report.
I just wanted to mention, and y'all see the two big poster boards of apply online for census. We've been hearing a lot about the census. So Committee Board 3, we have a complete count committee census. Also, we met last week. It was a great meeting. We came up with a lot of ideas. And basically, it's really about that one-on-one touch. Every neighbor talking to every neighbor, talking to people in your churches, your block associations, tenant associations, going within the schools. So we have some plans that we already put in place for the community board members and for the public who want to be on this committee. Remember, all committee meetings are open to the public. So you're more than welcome to attend this committee and any other committee meeting with for CB3. But the census is so important. I'm just gonna throw two stats out there. We were told that Brooklyn finished dead last in census participation in the United States of America.
Wow.
Dead last. Brooklyn, last. Now I'm making it even more personal.
Wow.
The 56th district, which covers Bedford and North Crown Heights, finished dead last for New York State for participation. Yes, that's us. For those who don't know, that's us. We finished last. So our motto is to go from worst to first for participation. So I'm hoping that you will come to our next meeting, which is going to be November 21st in the Community Board office, 6 p.m. Our next census count committee meeting, November 21st, 6 p.m. in the Community Board office. I will be there. Mr. Plateau may be there. Other board members may be there. And the public, please come on out. We're not asking that much of you, we're just asking you to please take information to your friends, your neighbors, your houses of worship, wherever, to help spread the word. We have a lot of information back there. I hope that table is empty back there when this meeting is over with. Don't just take one flyer, take 6, 7, 10, 20 flyers and give it out and give out all that information. And the big poster board, if people are looking to work, they are hiring. Trust me, they are hiring a lot of workers when it comes to the census 2020. So take that information, give it to someone, give it to that young adult laying on your couch, give it to somebody. And they are hiring, okay? So I hope to see everyone November 21st at the Census Committee meeting for Community Board 3. Thank you so much.
Just to add a couple of things, what Mr. Butler said about the census, New York was called the Empire State. And the reason is, in 1950, we had the highest number of congressional members. We had 45 congressional members. We're down to 27 now because of the relative population loss. And we're looking to lose 2 more seats in New York. So we're looking to go down to 25. And there are billions of dollars at stake. So it's critical that we do a lot better, as Mr. Butler said, to go from worst to first on the census.
Can I emphasize that money part enough? We all talking about the infrastructure, how we need more roads, better roads, more train service, bus service, education, health services, senior services. That is all based upon the census count. So just remember that. So when you go to your school, your child's school, they don't have the after-school service that you're looking for. Go back to 2010. The 2010 census affected your child. And just 2 more stats, I'm sorry. The least undercount population within our district, within Brooklyn, were Black men between the age of 18 and 30, and children under the age of 5. The least counted, okay? So, get your uncles, your cousins, your brothers, tell them to fill that census out. The government already know who you are. You got a social security number, they know who you are. You all on social media, they know who you are. Okay, so stop the madness about, I don't want the government in my business. They already in your business. You have a social security number, they know who you are. You know, y'all on social media, tweeting and Facebook and everything, they know who you are. And parents, count your kids count. You have to count your kids. You know, that was the least counted population within our district, were kids under 5. So I can't emphasize enough how important this census is.
Okay, thank you for your report. We're gonna move on to informational presentation. Is the chair of the Health and Social Service Committee, Heather Johnson. Are they here? Okay, so introduction.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
So this presentation will be given by Heather Johnson, Chair of the Health and Social Service Committee.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. We were due to have a presentation from Ms. Crystal Rogers. Crystal, are you here? I didn't see her, so I guess not. Well, she was going to come to us and give us a presentation about the shortage of nurses in our community, but she's not here. Perhaps she'll try again. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to our public hearings. We have 2 public hearings regarding liquor licenses, and the introduction will be given by committee second vice chair Keith Forrest for Economic Development Committee.
Good evening, everyone. We have a application for controlled liquor application from report given by DK Lobster. Is DK Lobster here? Going once. Going twice. Okay. Well, our second license, well, our second application is from Ty Lee, and I know the gentleman is here for Ty Lee. And that presentation will be done by Mr. John Vascano. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Vasquez. I'm the owner of Thai Meat. We're located at 918 Broadway, at the intersection of Broadway and Melrose Street. We operate a Thai restaurant. We are open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Just a little background history. I've been in the restaurant business for about 12 years. I have a little history in the area. In the late 90s, I operated a business in the old IBM facility, which went on to become the Home Depot. And we worked with Wildcat Academy, hiring troubled youth, as well as hiring from the neighborhood with the Job Corps. Moving forward, between 2007 and 2017, I was a homeowner and business owner, 515 Decal. I had a mortgage company where we helped people in the neighborhood.
So much, I can't hear you in the back.
Obtain mortgages and refinance their existing loans to lower interest. So, then we went on to open up Thai Meat. Thanks to a great staff that we have, half of which do live in the area. Our first year in business has been very successful. Our restaurant consists of a 1,500 square foot.
Speak in the mic, please.
Sorry. Our restaurant consists of a 1,500 square foot dining room, which seats 48, 8 at the bar. In addition, we have a 1,500 square foot party room in the back, which accommodates another 50 to 75 individuals. Our entrance is on the Broadway side, but we also have a second entrance on Myrtle Avenue, which serves as an emergency exit. Yeah. The building is from Broadway to Myrtle.
Okay.
From one end to the other. Our menu consists of all a lot of the popular dishes, pad thai, drunken noodle, pineapple fried rice, which are our best sellers. In addition, we have signature seafood and duck dishes. We have an extensive appetizer section, salads, soups, curries, cover all the basics. At the present time, delivery and takeout takes about 60% of our business. We are looking to improve dine-in by providing a nice atmosphere for the local residents to come visit. During our first year in business, we have not only worked to provide a nice establishment for the local residents to dine, but we also set up a relationship with local 81st Precinct. Most recently in June, we worked with Detective Narcisse and we catered their monthly community affairs meeting. This is a serve there. Again, on September 11th, we worked with Officers Islam and Holloman from the Sector A SWAT, which we fall under, and we again catered their quarterly meeting. It was attended by residents, by business owners, and we discussed ways to work together to better the community. Also present was Evelyn Cruz for Congresswoman Diddy Velasquez's office. And as we move forward on our second year, we hope to also continue to work with the community Thank you so much.
Okay, we have any questions from board members or public on, timing?
When you finish,
Yes.
I want to give you a card.
Can somebody?
Raise your hand.
Hi, Simone, Harris, board member. Did you share? Sorry.
Nah, you should go back up there.
Hello. Hi, Simone Pratt, board member. Did you share the hours of operation or did I miss that?
Oh, I'm sorry, we're open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay, we have somebody from the public over on the right side.
I got it. Good.
Okay, you said you had 2 bars.
What's your name, ma'am?
I'm sorry, my name is Princess Diaz. I live on Hercules Street. I'm a homeowner. Okay? You say you have 2 bars and you've been open over a year. What have you been doing with those bars? Because this is a restaurant, right?
It is a restaurant. The restaurant primarily is for dining, but we have a bar where a lot of individuals would like to have a cocktail or a glass of wine or a beer with their meal. So there's a bar in the main dining room, and then in the parties hall, the section in the back, I have a second bar. And that's as needed. It's not open all the time, right?
And how are your patrons when they exit your restaurant? Because I have a problem with, I know that the gentleman earlier said that the restaurants and like they're going out for cabaret license, but we're the homeowners, and when these people exit intoxicated, they're very loud, rowdy, and rude, okay? And we have restaurants and bars open up all around us, and we have nothing involved. Like here, they're gonna vote on it. They might not give you their okay, but then you keep going, and eventually you have it, and then we have to live there.
Okay, I definitely understand your concern. If you do happen to come by our restaurant, it is very nicely decorated, if I may say so. It's well lit. We are not looking to open up a bar. That is not our primary business. Our primary business is to provide a place where you can have a nice meal, and if you so desire, have a cocktail or a glass of wine or a beer with your meal. It is not a bar. I have 8 seats. That's not the type of business that we're looking at. So.
Okay, any other questions, comments from the public? Yes.
Yes.
Actually, what was the
Hold on,
capacity?
my name is,
Somebody in the back.
Michael Cameron, board member. And I would like if you could provide a little bit more color to your relationship with Wildcat Academy.
Sure. During I would have to say 97 to 98, I was part owner of a cartridge manufacturing company. It was a minority-owned company where we product to the Fortune 500 companies. We had a relationship with the Wildcat Academy, working with the troubled youth, where we would teach a trade, which was to manufacture the cartridges and to service office machines.
Okay, any other questions?
Good. Well, Jim.
Any other questions from the board members or the public? Okay, if not, I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you. Thank you very much. And we're going to move on to community announcements. So if you could please be ready in this order. Princess Diaz, I think you just spoke. You wanted to do a community announcement?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could come forward and in this order, Princess Diaz, Dr. Lashley, is Dr. Lashley here? Dr. Lashley? And Edwin Diaz. In that order, and please, if you can keep your announcements to 2 minutes. Thank you. Is Edwin Diaz here?
Microphone,
You're gonna give your mic?
I'm a homeowner, want to hurt my money, a young homeowner, okay? And I got my home through a program that people might know, Neighborhood Homes Program, okay? So I want to big them up. We've been on this about 11 years, but I live on a block that I've raised my kids on. There's a lot of elderly people. Just my own government is scheming my people. And what do I mean by that? Somebody will walk down the block, everybody on the block will get a letter that their sidewalk is messed up, okay? You see these people out there scrambling. So you'll know what a sidewalk costs from in front of a building? Straight up $5 grand or better, okay? These people are living on fixed incomes, okay? And then they have to come, if they don't fix it, the city come out, okay, and fix it. Don't even send them a bill, put a lien on their house, okay? And these people have been owning their homes for a long time. They're living on fixed income. I just happen to be a working adult with a husband. You understand? They've done it to me, okay? I bought my home from the Neighborhood Homes Program exactly 11 years from the date of December 19th. They did everything brand new. It was a rehab, regut. What do you mean? I can walk in that building, see up to the ceiling, and only brick. Everything in there is new and up to code, exterior and interior, okay? They come out, they do some work in the street, they cracked it, little sliver by the tree, and they came out and paved the hole in front of my door. Right now, I have a lien on my house for $1,200, okay? I didn't ask for that, I didn't authorize that, and the city did this to me. Okay, and now they're in the block digging again. For some reason, some bogus thing. What they told me on 311 is that I need to speak to my community board because y'all authorized it.
Whoa, that's
okay. That's what they told me. That's
not
not
authorized, the city to do sidewalk work. No.
Well, they get it ready up. They already got it marked off Hercules between New York and North Strip. Okay, to start digging. And nobody, all of us are homeowners on this block. We're unaware of it. We got no message, no notice, no nothing. It came out to pink orange marks on the sidewalk and in the street.
Okay, so ma'am, I think you can call, did you call 311?
They told me to speak to my community board.
Okay, so.
He said that y'all authorized it.
No, we don't authorize the city to do sidewalk work. We don't do that. We don't have the resources to go around looking at sidewalks. Definitely wasn't our community board. Right,
Said,
so.
the gas, MP, got approval to dig up for y'all.
Okay, so you can talk to Mr. Butler. You talking about the gas company? Come on.
It said Brooklyn Union Gas and DEP and Con Edison got approval to dig up the streets from our community board. And those are the people that should be notified.
No, we don't give permits to gas companies. Yeah.
But they said it came through our community board.
You were notified. Okay, talk to Mr. Butler and, hopefully we can do something to help you. Yes.
We want to keep posted on this.
Excuse me?
Keep us posted.
I have the same problem.
Oh.
2 years ago, right, so we'll talk right now. These are issues that should be dealt with at the office. So everybody, whoever came back complained, there's city in the back right now.
Keep us updated.
Dr. Lashley.
Yes. I want to make a plea to the community board
What's your name?
Dr. Lashley.
Okay.
I want to make a plea to the community board. You hear me? You hear me?
Yes.
You need a better mic. I want to speak directly to the community board members. We are concerned with the number of liquor licenses.
Yes. Oh, you are.
Yes, that are being approved. That this morning, as late as 3 o'clock, I was awake because of the noise about 5 individuals were making. That as a homeowner of long standing, I'm getting tired of this. I think it's a waste of our police resources to be constantly calling them for them to come out. You have to do a little more due diligence and not be granting so many liquor licenses. You don't do it. You don't do it. You approve the liquor license. That's right.
We don't approve by SLA.
And if they say no, they can go higher and still get it.
We don't approve the
I'm just saying
application.
that you make recommendations.
Yes.
So I'm asking you to do due diligence
Yes.
in your deliberation. We're tired of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say on that, right, we do the recommendations. The only way that SOLA will turn down an application is if that applicant has a history of illegal activity or issues with a previous establishment. If that applicant his establishment is within 200 feet of a school or a house of worship, or if an applicant is like the 5th application within 500 feet of 3 or 4 other establishments that have a full SOA license. So I guess we need to understand that we can say no, but they're still going to get approved by state liquor authority, the state liquor authority. Because unless they're breaking any of those particular rules, the state cannot legally deny them an SOA application. And state liquor authority is in the business of giving out liquor license.
I know that's
That's their business.
Yep.
So the committee, they do their due diligence. They go out, they will visit the site, do a site visit. We have them at the committee meetings. We make sure they get us the support from the surrounding block associations of businesses. So I just need to put that out there, that the committee, they are doing their due diligence. They are inundated with applications now. SOA applications. So they do their due diligence, but if we can say no, but they're not breaking any of their rules, SLA is gonna give them that liquor license. So it's not CG3 approving a bunch of liquor licenses.
That's right.
Yeah. And you're gonna hear a report, from the, sure, Mr. Edwin Diaz.
I be acting like people don't like to drink. People be drinking.
My wife Chris is already spoke on this. Concern.
They're trying to make a bigger issue.
Our concern is that, we come out to go to work every day, and then you go on your floor, your concrete, and you see all these marks on it. So somebody already made a decision.
That's right.
To come there and disrupt the whole front of the house, right? Nobody contacted us or informed us that this was gonna happen, okay? Like, as she mentioned, we got a lien because there was nothing wrong with our concrete. What they did was that they started from Nostrand Avenue and went all the way to New York Avenue doing the sidewalks for everyone.
Okay, are you talking about damage from a utility company now?
Yes. Yeah, no, well, okay, because there was some sidewalks that were fine, there was nothing wrong with the concrete. But they did the whole block, and then they gave us a bill. I don't, want to get on another subject, but one of the things she mentioned was that, we have seniors that have been there for generations. And our neighborhood, we all know, has been going through,
justification. So we got these seniors that can't keep up with the taxes. You understand what I mean? Some people were forced to move out, some people abandoned their property, and we just don't know what to do, We just so lucky that we have jobs that we can maintain. But, I myself, not doing well, I just got an LVAD put in. Okay, that's a left ventricle assistance device. Because my heart was functioning at 7%. So if I'm out of the loop, what is she gonna do? If we are ready to, we were so proud of our accomplishment getting this home, but we could lose it tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. So the district manager is going to address the issue about the sidewalk.
So I just want to speak about the sidewalk issue, because they're talking about two different problems. So what happens with sidewalk repair, and that's done by the Department of Transportation. If someone makes a call, it could be someone on your block, it could be someone that don't live on your block, it could be a stranger walking through, and they call 311. They may have tripped on a sidewalk that was damaged. When they make that call to 311, Department of Transportation sidewalk unit, they're going to come out. They're going to go to that address and look at that sidewalk. Then they're going to walk up the whole block. They're going to do the entire block after that. And if they see any damaged sidewalk, they're going to hit you with the violation. And that's all based upon someone made a 311 call. Because these sidewalk violations are basically complaint driven. Someone called in about sidewalk being damaged. They came out, they're gonna check that particular spot, then they're gonna do the whole block. And they're gonna hit everyone with a violation. So when they do that, they're gonna send you that in the notice in the mail, they're gonna put it on your door, and they're gonna see a notice in the mail, and it's gonna show you each block that's damaged on there. Now, if the tree is causing the problem, you don't have to pay for that. That's the new policy the mayor just came out with. You don't have to pay for that repair. But if it's not the tree, then yes, the city is saying you're going to have to repair that. If you do not repair it, the city then will come and repair it. And then they're going to bill you for that, for the repair work that they did. Now, if you saw my report on the back of it, one of it said I did a walkthrough of Macon Street between Ralph and Howard, because their block got hit with a bunch of sidewalk violations. And I went out there to go over each and every one that got hit with a sidewalk violation to hopefully see that, okay, well, maybe this violation isn't as bad and that part can be removed. But once that call is made and they come out there, then yes, everyone's going to get hit. And I would recommend then for you to call the community board office. I can arrange to come out there with DOT to check each sidewalk or each house that's been hit. But that's the system that exists at this time. Now the city, they're funny. When it's damage to the sidewalk, it's your property. And you're responsible for it. You see, and that's the game that the city plays, But then if you want to put something on the sidewalk, a planter or something, then no, you can't do that. The city controls the sidewalk. That's the game that the city plays. But at this time, in order to make changes to this policy, then we need some legislation done by our elected officials. That's not a community board thing. That's something to be done by the legislators. The same way the mayor, the city council, the same way the mayor said, okay, we're not going to fine you because the tree is causing a problem. Then he did that. You know why he did that? Because Assemblyman Carl Hasty from the Bronx had one of his constituents complained about the tree. And Carl Hasty spoke to the mayor and said, I don't understand this silly policy. The tree is causing a sidewalk repair. Why are you forcing my constituent to pay for this? That's something that the city tree is doing. Right. And that's what made the mayor change that policy. Good. So the pressure has to be put on City Hall from the community and elected officials to change this current sidewalk violation policy by the city. Okay. Now, the other part they spoke on about National Grid, that's a whole nother conversation.
So I just want to say on the National Grid, that when they come in and they tear up your sidewalk to do some kind of repair, whatever it is, they are responsible for replacing it, and they do it. And they do.
And if it's a landmark block, they have the so-called, what do you call them, Ellen? The blue stone or tinted, they're supposed to repair back with that original stone. Now, yes, we get a heads up, if National Grid is doing work on a block, yes, they do give us a heads up on the work that's being done on a block. That way we know, and we'll inform the block associations and the residents, and they put notices out, at least they're supposed to put notices out to the residents that they're about to do work on that block. Okay, but what was said tonight, and I'm glad y'all brought this up, because everyone needs to know, so when you're having these sort of issues, concerns, that's a 311 call, and then after that, that's a call to the community board office. So, so we and the staff can deal with that. So your first call should be 311, then your second call should be to the community board office. So everyone that's having any sort of issues like that, whether it's utility company or any city agency, we are your liaisons to the city agency. That's our job, to deal with the city agencies for you, so you don't have to deal with bureaucracy. Okay?
Thank you. Yeah, and I think kind of by the same principle, owners are also responsible for snow removal on the sidewalks. Even though we don't own it, we are responsible for maintaining the sidewalk. So, okay, so we have one more person on the community announcements, Ian Coxell. Okay. Okay, I think you wanted to speak to Mr. Butler. Does it also have to do with sidewalk? Yeah, because. Okay, so just, if you could just talk to Mr. Butler in the back.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're gonna go to a roll call for the board.
Alicia
Alexander. Present. Taiwan Anthony. Monique Antoine. Dr. Kim Best. Lillian Bowman. Anthony Guzarach. Michael Catlin. Michael Catlin. Vanessa Clark. Ivy Gamble.
Present.
Edwin Collier.
Present.
Pastor Gwendolyn Dingle.
Present.
Tiana Evans.
Here.
Mark Fasal. Richard Plateau.
Here.
Sharon Forbes. Keith Gars.
Here.
Greg Glasgow. Shea Greenfeld. Mary Jameson Head.
Present.
Abby Robinson Hobson.
Present.
Oma Holloway. Everett Hughes.
Present.
Victor Iro.
Present.
Keisha Jerryman.
Present.
Edna Johnson.
Present.
Dr. Curleen Johnson.
Present.
Dr. Deborah Lamb.
Here.
Lisa Lewis.
Present.
Marion Little. Dionisio Liz. Hardy Joe Long.
Present.
Debbie Matthews.
Present.
Kenneth Abono. Ellen Miller.
Here.
Melissa Clouden Norman.
Present.
Satina Payton.
Present.
C. Doris Penn.
Here.
Karen Rao.
Present.
Simone Pratt.
I'm here.
Carolyn Richburg.
Present.
Wendy Robinson.
Present.
Stacy Ruffin. Present. Suzette Shepherd.
Present.
Jamala Swift.
Here.
Chinya Lu Udo. Alicia Walton.
Here.
Reverend Dr. Robert Waterman. Doug Williams.
Here.
TJ Wilson.
Here.
Caitlin is here.
Vote on that one.
Thank you.
Okay, while we're checking on the form, we're gonna move on to committee updates and resolutions. Any committee chairs have any updates or resolutions?
Good evening. I am Vice Chair of Transportation, Sanitation, and Environment. Please join us for our next meeting, Tuesday, November 12th, 6:30 p.m. at the board office. We are in the process of trying to get the MTA to come out and discuss the B46 bus cuts that were just announced. We wanted to let you know that we submitted our budget requests on time, which included enforcement against illegal dumping, a few street repairs, and a study to be done on the intersection of Ralph Avenue and Fulton Street, to check for pedestrian safety because people cross crazy there. And there was something else, and more garbage cans. So if you have issues with rats, which is one of the issues we deal with, if you have issues with transportation, with garbage, please come out to our meeting and we will talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee updates?
Yes, good evening. This is Cynthia Darspin, Chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee. The Bedford Stuyvesant Initiative, which had scheduled a community workshop this month. Please stay tuned, look for your notices that we will send out because the dates have changed for the public workshop this month and next month. So please look out for your notices. They'll let you know what the new dates are.
Good afternoon. Hello, can you hear me? Good afternoon, CJ Wilson, Vice Chair. Good evening. Hello. Good evening, Vice Chair, Parks, Arts and Culture. Our committee meeting is Wednesday at the board office at 6:30. We have a very interactive meeting, so I invite you guys to come out. It's gonna be a very interesting one. Also, the Ebony Society of the Department of the Parks Department is calling artists out. Anyway, they're calling for artists to make some submissions for Black History Month. It should be posted on our on the board's. It's posted. Oh, great. It's posted on the board's website, on Facebook, and they're looking for submissions to demonstrate royal art, based in African art. I can't remember, I'm sorry. African royalty. But anyway, it's about us, about Black folks. And they're having a contest. So I encourage Black artists, artists in general, to go on our website, to check it out, and you'll have more information at our committee meeting, so you should come out. Have a good night.
Hi, I'm Evelyn Collier, Chair of the Landmark Committee. The Landmark Committee is hosting an event on Thursday. It's for a select part of the community. It's for the Stuyvesant Heights, the original Stuyvesant Heights Historic District. We're having a tax credit seminar, National Historic Registry, because they are the only ones that are under, except for Bedford. The rest of the community is not there yet. So on Thursday, it's 6:30 at MS 35. We'll be there. If you got a letter in the mail, it's for real. It's not somebody trying to trick you or lure you out. It's a real event, and it's hosted by the community board. Thank you. Oh, and our meeting is going to be on the 17th because of the holiday. We need to. 18th? Oh, he says 18th. I looked at the calendar. I'm sorry. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, Stacy Ruffin, Chair of the Civic and Public Safety Committee. I usually have my meetings the first Tuesday of every month, which it will be tomorrow. But instead of 6 o'clock, it will be at 3 o'clock tomorrow. All right, so hope to see some of you, or all of you there. 3 o'clock is the office, 300. Doug, I'll see you there.
Are there any other committee reports?
Thank you. Good evening, I'm Ivy Gamble Cobb, Vice Chair of the Health and Social Services Committee. Our meeting will be on Monday, November 18th at 6:30 PM at the Community Board office.
Any other committee updates or resolutions? Okay, so I don't see, it looks like most of the Economic Development Committee, they actually went, I guess they're caucusing somewhere. So, can somebody, please let them know that we're ready to move on to action on the public hearing. We have, 37 present, 13 absent, so we have a quorum. I'm just gonna add, while we're waiting to take the vote on, Tide Me, under my report, we're gonna have 3 items. One is the, nominating committee report, which is down there, but there are actually 2 additional items. Second is gonna be a bylaws amendment, which was, circulated, that was proposed by, Alicia Alexander, the, second vice chair. And then the last thing under my report is gonna be a closed session. We have to go over a personnel, matter. So, are we ready for the Economic Development Committee recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, so recommendation on, the 2 public, well, what are you gonna do with the one that didn't show up?
First.
Guys,
Okay, so the recommendations on the, timing will be given by Keith for second vice chair, Economic Development Committee.
the Economic Development Committee voted a letter of support for Thai Me Restaurant located at 918 Broadway between Myrtle and Stockton.
Okay, you heard the recommendation from, Keith
I move to
Morris.
accept.
Second.
Moved by Doug Williams, who was the second?
Who else?
Linda Johnson. Any, discussion on the motion? Okay, I'll call the question.
Alicia Alexander,
No.
Lillian Bowman,
Yes.
Anthony Bozarth,
Yes.
Michael Catlin,
Yes.
Ivy Gamble Cobb,
Yes.
Evelyn Collier,
Yes.
Pastor Gwendolyn Dingle, Pastor Dingle.
Pastor Dingo?
She said no.
Okay, thank you. Taina Evans,
Yes.
Richard Flateau,
Yes.
Sharon Forbes, Keith Forrest,
Yes.
Mary Jamison Head, Abby Robinson Hobson,
Yes.
Everett Hughes,
Yes.
Victor Iro,
Yes.
Keisha Jerryman,
Abstain.
Edna Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Curleen Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Deborah Lamb,
Yes.
Lisa Lewis,
Yes.
Party Joe Hong,
Yes.
Debbie Matthews,
Yes.
Ellen Miller,
Yes.
Melissa Potter Norman,
Yes.
Satina Payton,
No.
C. Doris Penn, Simone Pratt,
Yes.
Karen Rao,
Yeah.
Carolyn Richburg,
No.
Wendy Robinson, Stacy Ruffin, yes. Suzette Shepherd,
Yes.
Jamela Swift,
Yes.
Alicia Walton,
Yes.
Doug Williams,
Yes.
and TJ Wilson.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna now hear from the, second vice chair Economic Development Committee regarding, the group that did not show up, BK Lobster.
The Economic Development Committee voted on a letter of non-support for BK Lobster located at 535 Nostrand Avenue. For not showing up, we voted for a letter of non-support for them not showing up at this particular meeting.
You heard the recommendation from Mr. Forrest. Is there a motion? I think I heard, was that Doug? Doug Williams? Seconded by Edna Johnson. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, I'm gonna call a question, we'll have the vote. Again, it's for a letter of non-support for BK Lobster.
Felicia Alexander.
Yes.
Lillian Bowman. Anthony Bozareth.
Yes.
Michael Catlin.
Yes.
Ivy Gamble Cobb.
Yes.
Evelyn Collier.
Yes.
Pastor Gwendolyn Dingle.
Yes.
Taina Evans.
Yes.
Richard Plateau.
Yes.
Sharon Forbes. Keith Forrest.
Yes.
Mary Jamison Head. She's stepped out. Abby Robinson
Yes.
Hobson.
Yes.
She abstained.
She abstained.
Yes. And Abby, you said yes, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Everett Hughes,
Yes.
Victor Iro,
Yes.
Keisha Jerryman,
Yes.
Edna Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Curly Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Deborah Lamb,
Yes.
Lisa Lewis,
Yes.
Cardi Joe Long,
Yeah.
W. Matthews,
Yes.
Ella Miller,
Yes.
Melissa Clouded Norman,
Yes.
Satina Payton,
Yes.
C. Doris Penn,
Yes.
Simone Pratt,
Yes.
Karen Rao,
Yes.
Carolyn Richburg,
Abstain.
Wendy Robinson,
Yes.
Stacy Ruffin, yes, Suzette Shepherd,
Yes.
Jamila Swift,
Yes.
Alicia Walton,
Yes.
Doug Williams,
Yes.
TJ Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, while we're tallying the votes on the two, public hearings, we're gonna move to the chairperson's report. And under that, we will get the report from the nominating committee chaired by Karen Brown.
Good evening, everyone. Karen Rao, Chair of the Nominating Committee. The Nominating Committee met on October 30th at the board office to discuss all.
It's on.
Talk into the mic.
She'll be like talking.
Can you hear me now?
Now, yes.
Okay. So the Nominating Committee met on October 30th at the board office to discuss all the nominees that have been provided to us for the following positions: chairperson, first vice chairperson, second vice chairperson, treasurer, and executive secretary. Board members, as you know, to be eligible for any office of the board, a member must first have been appointed to the board by the president of the Borough of Brooklyn, and the member should also have served a minimum of 1 year on the board and be currently active on at least one board committee. So we have the following nominees. For chairperson, we have Richard Plateau. First vice chairperson, we have Anthony Buzarek, as well as Felicia Alexander. Second vice chairperson, Simone Pratt. Treasurer, Cynthia Doris Pinn, and executive secretary, Stacy Ruffin. Each of the nominees have been appointed to the board by the president of the Borough of Brooklyn. They all have served at least a minimum of 1 year on the board, and they are currently active on at least one board committee. As you all know, we have the elections in December. You'll be receiving some more information about the nominees before the elections. And we'll also be meeting one more time before the December meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Could you just repeat those names, and also, when will there be can there be floor nominations? Could you repeat those names?
Yes, there can be 4 nominations, and the names are for chairperson, Richard Plateau, first vice chairperson, Anthony Guzaraf, as well as Felicia Alexander, second vice chairperson, Simone Pratt, treasurer, Cynthia Doris Pinn, and executive secretary, Stacy Ruffin.
Okay, and when can you have, floor nominations?
On the day of elections, December 2nd.
Okay, thank you for your report. So, next, we're gonna have the, bylaws, and then we're gonna go into, closed executive session after the, I'll announce the vote. We'll do bylaws, I'll announce the vote, then we'll go into closed session.
Okay. Good evening. Move it back a little. Good evening. Last month, I presented a bylaw amendment, but because it wasn't emailed out prior to the meeting, it has to be represented this month so that we can vote on it next month. The amendment came about during an executive committee meeting where we discussed why do we do elections every year? And it was said, why don't we do it every other year as other community boards do? So we were told that it just has to be proposed. And so I'm proposing it so that every October, every September, the nominating committee doesn't have to be made. Every October, we don't have to go through this. Every December, we don't have to hold an election. We can have people stay in their position for 2 terms. And the amendment says 2 consecutive terms, and it could be even longer if by the majority of the board. That's the gist of the amendment, is to make a term in the office from 1 year to 2 years.
Could you read the amendment?
Yeah. So the new amendment would state, during Brooklyn CB3's regular monthly business meeting in October of a voting year, the first order of business shall be the formation of a nominating committee consisting of 7 Brooklyn CB3 members. It will also say the change will be the tenure of all elected officers of Brooklyn CB3 shall be no more than 2 consecutive 2-year terms, except by a majority vote of the seated quorum of Brooklyn CB3 members.
Okay, so everyone should have gotten a copy of that, so it's a single issue. I just checked with the parliamentarian, I have one, technical friendly amendment. I want to change one word where it said, voting year, I want to change that to election. So I think according to parliamentary procedure, if there's a friendly amendment, if you accept that, the amendment, right? Okay, so we will change one word. Instead of saying voting year, say election year. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna announce the vote, and then we will go into an executive session to discuss a personnel matter. So, okay, so we'll vote on the minutes too, right after. So the vote for, BK Lobster, that was for a letter of non-support. The vote was 34 in favor, 0 against, 2 abstentions, so we will be issuing a letter of non-support for BK Lobster.
I'm sorry, so regarding Ty Me, request for a letter of support, the vote was 28 for, 5 opposed, 3 abstentions. Motion carries for a letter of support. Um, Last thing before we go into executive session, the minutes. I actually had a minor correction to the minutes, and I don't know if anybody else does. This is for the minutes of the October 7th public meeting. If you look at the last page, where it says, Community Board 3 Personnel Report, closed session, I would ask that we strike the words "by show of hands" to just read, the board voted unanimously to approve the Personnel Committee's recommendation. And it says that in 2 places. There's another paragraph that said, the board voted unanimously by show of hands. I would recommend that we strike show of hands because we actually did a voice vote.
Right.
For that.
That's right.
So, I guess, I don't know, can I make my own motion to?
No.
Somebody else for that.
I'll make the motion.
So my recommendation is that we strike show of hands in both places in section 8 of the minutes from October 7th. Yes.
I vote for the recommendation with the correction.
Move for the recommendation
with
by
the
Edna
changes.
Johnson for the
Yes.
correction, seconded by Michael Catlin. All in favor?
I'm going to.
Any opposed? Okay, so the minutes passed with the correction. I'm sorry, we were just joined by the representative, the chief of staff for Assemblywoman Latrice Walker, Isis McIntosh. Can you please keep it to 2 minutes? Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt you all before going into your executive session. My name is Isis McIntosh Green, and I'm Chief of Staff to Assemblywoman Latrice Walker, who represents the 55th Assembly District. I left some information outside, but I did want to just share with you 3 things that we have. I'll give you 2, because I know you guys probably got representation from the District Attorney's Office already. Okay, so 2 things that's happening. And I just, no? Okay, I'll give you all 3 then. Coming up on November 13th, which is just next week, sorry. There's going to be a town hall that's taking place at PS 156, which is located on Sutter Avenue, and Grafton Street, in Brownsville, where the district attorney, Eric Gonzalez, as well as Attorney General Tish James, is going to be having a Justice Town Hall. Doors open at 5:30 and the event is at 6 p.m. So if you have any questions, it'll be an open platform for you to be able to submit your questions and have both of them answer them as well. Some of you may have been familiar, they did a similar town hall in Prospect Heights about a month ago. So now they're going to be in this side of Brooklyn. The very next day, Thursday, November 14th at 6 p.m., some of you may know the Stone Avenue Library, which is located on Mother Gaston Boulevard. On the 2nd floor is the Brownsville Heritage House. There is going to be a working group session with Assemblywoman Latrice Walker and the New York Civil Liberties Union. They're going to be talking about a bill that they have in the Assembly, as well as in the Senate, that would decrease the number of suspension days for students in school, as we understand that Black girls are 9 times more likely to be suspended and suspended for longer times for the same issue as their counterparts. So if you're interested in attending, I have some information back there. That's Thursday. And then just moving on, the very last thing, in Albany on November 21st, even though it is in Albany, the Assemblywoman is hosting a family separation hearing. She is now the chair of the task force on women's issues. And so the family separation hearing is actually talking about family separation with child protective custody, child protective services. So if you guys know of anyone that is interested in going to Albany to testify or either submitting a written testimony, I have left testimony sheets in the back that you'll be able to submit. And if you need any information about what I said, you can just call our district office at 718-342-1256. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. McIntosh. I just have two other very quick items before we go into executive session. One, the Personnel Committee, we meet quarterly, so I have a tentative date for our next meeting of December 12th at 6 p.m. So I'll send out notices to the members of the Personnel Committee. Last thing is that for the board members and staff, the guidelines were sent out for regarding the board funding, education, and training opportunities. And please contact the board office if you have any questions. So with that, we will go into executive session now. We just have a couple of very short personnel matters that need to be discussed. So,
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we move the meeting into executive session to discuss the personnel issue.
moved by C. Dorsman, seconded by Mary Head. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. So with that, I would ask if the members of the public could please leave the room.
We should be walking the training. Oh, God. And metal, a little tiny piece of it, one of those strips of metal.